do when this happens?
Oh, perfect. Okay, sorry, up to 10. Okay, I'm gonna have one mixed. I have one just to kind of show every step. We're gonna mix together dough. I have one proofing so I can show the rolling. And I'm about to put some in the oven, then we can do tasting. Who has a KitchenAid? The only reason I asked that is because you can do both with this recipe. So this one I hand kneaded just to make sure. Because it can do both, I can show either way. So if you didn't have a KitchenAid, I didn't want to show the KitchenAid and then not know, you know, how to apply it. The only difference that I have found so far between hand kneading and machine, and I'm not 100% sure why this is, the dough can be a little stickier when you hand knead. Sometimes, and it all depends on the size of your machine, I hand knead the butter in, and we'll get to that, because my machine likes to push the butter and not incorporate it. I'm using coconut milk in this. You can use almond milk, you can use oat milk, any alternative works. This recipe is gonna be very much like a normal cinnamon roll recipe, just different flours. One thing, if you'll notice on the paper, she uses weights, the author does. It's more evenly balanced. This 1 cup is 236.64 milliliters. We had another one that's 250. And scooping methods are not equal. If you just scoop it out, it packs, it can be heavier. If you scoop with a spoon, it can be lighter. Because each flour is a different density too. I'm getting my water ready, water and milk for the activating part of it. And of course with yeast things, you do the sugar and the yeast together in the hot water because then it starts proofing.
So amazing. And so I made that recipe before she did. Yeah. I quadrupled it. So then and hydrated. And yeah, I do that to help us as gluten-free people be able to enjoy the things we feel like we've really been cheated out of because we can't. She isn't even dairy-free. That's the thing we're adding to it because we need to. So it is nice because we do have the ability to do it. It's not a really hard change to do.
Here's the psyllium husks, just to kind of give you an idea. This is what it looks like when you stir it in. We're gonna let that sit there and come back to it in a minute, but I want to show what it looks like before. That's just psyllium husks and water. This is yeast, sugar, and milk. These ones are ones that are done.
Been proofing in the refrigerator.
They weren't supposed to, but they did. So this is the arrowroot. Yeah, this is, in a sense, the starch of the recipe.
And if you are doing sugar issues,
some of her recipes will say sift the flours and stuff together. I do because millet should be fine, but sorghum and oat flour are kind of clumpy, so it just mixes better. The reason she likes the individual flours and doing it yourself in the recipe is you have the exact ratio. When you use mix, it can only be stirred so well. A lot of flour mixes rely mostly on starch.
we have done, and she's even tested, I'd say, okay, maybe adding a little bit. Oh, we're good. Well, we're fine. They adding extras in and out. And she has that, and we have a little book out. You have this. So I immediately went,
Not dairy free, but
you're so good. She does such a great job.
just doing a quick whisk on everything. Make sure everything's all blended. See?
That's a professional. And,
So now,
and then down to our cheese, there's another one.
remember the psyllium husks?
Oh, wow. Oh. And not only that, she got a...
I can turn it like this. You guys want to come up and see it?
And we're baking this.
Yeah, you can look.
Yeah, come on up and check it out.
So now I'm gonna add the butter. You can go by the time, but because I know how my machine mixes and it doesn't get all of it, that's when I switch and go by hand. This butter may actually go well because it's really, so this brand that I'm using is Melt. I bounce around, but for today we're using this one. And that actually softens up really well, so that might be why my machine will do it.
Or if you put the same amount in and it was more.
Once you get it to where most of the flour is picked up and it still is that smooth looking dough, then I add the butter in because I know most likely I'll be dumping it out. So if I can get it as close to everything incorporated, I don't have to knead it by hand as well. So there's the butter.
Yes, you can overknead. That is a real challenge. But not this because you've got the other things.
Just
that
know
are
it's gonna be very
helping
sticky.
With the having flour on it too.
Yeah, but you.
I don't know the science of all this stuff.
Well, I just know it's gonna be sticky, and just like that, flour's already. I mean, the butter's already in. So, but I mean, it's pretty sticky. Our sprayer broke. We get this from Costco. Ploop. Just like that. Counter's wiped off and save it. So there you go.
Years ago. Whoa, a couple years ago. Oh,
Ta-da! That's what happens if you let it proof longer than 30 minutes.
whoa. The beauty of this.
Rolling.
They have all of them. And them all for Vitacost. Vitacost has things that Angel doesn't as well. They don't have as big of a variety. I did get most everything. Chicken, one way down. You don't have to go search for a million different items.
Mhm.
I like that. I've got a little extra everything.
And this is personal preference. I like making a little bit more squared off ends because then you have a cleaner roll, but that's all in. I've seen people do it oval. In the recipe, she melts. This is where we kind of go into what I do. She melts and cools. I just soften. This is actually a technique Mom showed me, and I've used it since because I have tried the melted technique. It's fine, but when you start rolling, you can push the melted butter out. She has on the recipe, she has measurements for how much sugar and stuff for the filling. I kind of follow it, but sometimes it's just take the sugar and go however much you want. So that I've heard someone say, measure with your heart.
One thing I've learned from making it with coconut sugar is put the cinnamon on first.
But also with it not being melted, you can get as close to the edge as you want. It's not gonna just start flowing over. Uniform. Yep, this is just cinnamon and sugar. Use white sugar, you can use brown sugar. Like he said, we've used coconut sugar. Coconut sugar makes it caramely. Pre-cut it. Because then, once you roll it, if it starts to stick, I've been known to use either one of these, or if you have a skinny one, you can go like this. You can keep the roll going, and it doesn't tear. I personally cut them thinner because they proof well enough. But see, it's already proofing. Ish. But see, that's why I cut them thin. But then you do the jelly roll and they don't stick. See how it's stuck there? But I'm not taking the whole roll with me so I can save it.
So, getting parchment and lining it, that's even.
Okay, so see, there, stuck.
Around the top and everything. Like when
And then
I
you're
did
good.
it, that's so protected, but yeah. But it's just like for everything.
There's the flour left over.
It's
This is our powdered sugar.
Lauren.
He said it's like three.
So, there was a lot of things saying they were in the same place. But they like some of the heaviness of that. Oh, yeah. It caused some baggage cheese. You can use garlic. Again, it's a gum.
Glaze and everything, there's your finished product. So.
Can I take a picture?
Yeah, actually.